Hi guys, today we'll be going over the work breakdown structure and time estimation for completing your project. At this point, you have met with your group, you have reviewed all of your pre-made health program, you have created your team charter, and you've created your project definition document. Your work breakdown structure is the document that details all the work activities to be done for the completion of your project implementation. As we've mentioned before, the implementation of your project is really the focus of this course. You can see that the work breakdown structure is a top-down breakdown of each work package or deliverable that is until its most basic level of having one task and one owner. This step, in addition to estimating the work, is essential to perform because it allows a prediction of how many hours, how long essentially this project is going to take to implement and how much it will cost to implement. This document, we will not be putting cost into this particular document, but it is one of the processes in identifying budget. Okay, so what you're going to do with your group, you will be submitting one work breakdown structure. You should be able to see a graphical or outline format, and that is described in Module 5. And there are many free work breakdown structure templates online. I have really enjoyed seeing the creativity so many of my students have used here because I have gotten very elaborate, excellent work breakdown structures that look so professional, and many times you could turn that into a boss or someone, a prospective employer, to show the organizational level that you are at, or also your ability to navigate different technology, different software. All right, so what's very important in the work breakdown structure is you're going to have 3 phases. You're going to have the planning phase for your project, the implementation phase for your project, and the post-implementation or evaluation phase for your project. These 3 phases are going to be used in all of your documents. So each phase will include all of the work that should be completed during that specific phase. So in a planning phase, you're preparing for the implementation, of course, of the actual project. And it would have a great deal of work to be done in the planning phase before you could actually kick off the event or the program. Or the project. So in your event, you are having a one-day event with the Great American Smokeout. So a lot of the work that is going to be completed is going to be done in the planning phase. Then, of course, you'll have many tasks in the implementation phase at a one-day event, and then followed by the post-implementation, looking at and evaluating the success of your event. So if each phase is going to have all of the work, we're going to have multiple items here, multiple tasks here that are going to be broken down into smaller tasks, and they are going to be broken down into the lowest level, which means that each task has one specific owner, one task, one owner. And once the work is broken down, you're going to go from the bottom all the way up to the top, estimating the time it would take to actually complete the task. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show y'all some of the actual, a graphical representation of the work breakdown structure, as well as an outline format. So you can click over here. This has nothing to do with the project that you're going to be doing. This is just a, this is actually, excuse me, hold on just a second. Let's see if I can move this up. All right. There we go. So you can see here that this is an actual conference, and these are obviously, this does not have the same phases that I'm giving you to have for your particular project. This has different deliverables up here: the required date, the venue grouping, the delegates grouping, the publicity grouping, delegate handout pack, and structure and format grouping. So you can see, of course, their project is going to be a conference, and they have broken this down like the venue grouping, list of venue requirements, list of possible venues. And this is a graphical representation because, of course, you can follow it all the way down to what has to be done. So, of course, you can see that they need to decide a date for their actual conference, And then that is really what stops there. But the venue grouping, there are many more smaller tasks. And so you have to really break it down to get to that one task, one owner. And of course, you can see through all of this here, but it is, you can see all the way down about the speakers and the handouts and all of the details of the actual event. Okay, so let's look at we're going to go with our example again for the ABC Corporation's Corona 5K, and I have started this example. This is by no means a completed project by any means, completed work breakdown structure. This is probably the reason it is 10% of your grade is because it is probably one of the largest group projects that you will do, the group assignments that you will do. So I'm going to show you kind of an example here. This would be more of the outline representation. You can see planning, implementation, and post-implementation. You will have those 3 phases for each one, for each of your projects. So you can see over here, I'm thinking through all of the things I would need to do in order to plan the ABC Corporation's Corona 5K. This is a very short list. This is not an exhaustive list. You will come up with an exhaustive list for your project. So you can see here I've written book venue, and then my smaller 2 of the places that I'm going to call AutoZone Park, and I'm going to call the Memphis Zoo. You can see plot race course. And you can see contact race company to measure 5K, approved race course with city and police. Again, you are breaking that plot race course and having the approvals, you're breaking that down even further until it has one task and one owner. Create race registration, test race registration site. Again, you're thinking of all of the things that would need to be done in order to create the race registration. Create flyers. One step would be meet with a graphic designer. You might have to approve, your second thing might be approve design, send flyers to printers. Again, you're breaking down create flyers much more than just create flyers. You need to break it down even further. Then you can see here the finisher's medal and then the race participants race t-shirts. So with a finisher's medal, you would need to have the medal designed, and then you would need to order the medals, right? For the participants t-shirts, you would need to have those designed. You would need to order them. You're breaking it all the way down. So you can see here, let's do a very short estimation. So you're going to have a very exhaustive list with all of your planning. You would do the same thing with implementation, thinking through the day of implementation for the Great American Smokeout and then the post-implementation. Then you're working from the very bottom up. So if we were to say order, so 6A, order design race t-shirts. Okay, so, and then we would say, maybe our next thing would be 6B, order race t-shirts. So this wouldn't take very long, but if we ordered them, say they take 3 weeks to come in, 3 weeks. And then designing, we would say maybe that would take 3 days. You're estimating how long these things would take. So participants t-shirts. So you'd say 3 weeks and 3 days. And you might give a buffer of 4 weeks in case there is a little additional time, just to make sure that you are protecting your time and making sure that you're budgeting enough time for this. Same thing with finishers medals. We might estimate to get the finishers medals designed and ordered. That might also take 4 weeks. Again, we're going to look at creating flyers. Again, this is just one small example. Okay, your list would be much more exhaustive. Meeting with the graphic designer, that might take 2 days. You might do the approvals, all of the details involved with creating flyers. This might take 1 week. 1 week. Then the race registration site, you would do a smaller estimate for testing the race registration site. That might take 2 hours. And then, of course, creating the actual registration site might take a week after someone looks at it. So you might estimate 1 week. And then here you would look at approval for the race course with the city. This might take 1 week. Contract race company to measure the 5K and having them measure it. This might take we might give 1 week as well. So we might estimate that plotting the race course would be 2 weeks. And then calling the Memphis Zoo. This might be 2 days because you want to make sure that you have a buffer, 2 days. And of course, then the final decision, we might give an estimated time of 1 week to book the venue. So you can starting from the bottom, we would look at our 6 main deliverables here. So we estimated an additional buffer with 4 weeks, 4 weeks. So we're at 9 weeks, 10 weeks, 11, 12, 13 weeks. So we would say 13 weeks for planning. And then this is just an estimation, and you will have much more a much more detailed work breakdown structure for every single phase. So this is absolutely the longest project that you have with your group, but I want you to spend the necessary time it takes that is very specific to your particular project. Have a great day. Thanks.